Oh. Look how cute. Hi, hello, good morning. It's Sunday. It's a rainy-esque, gloomy, humid Sunday. I'm hoping it continues to rain. Honestly, I want it to really thunderstorm, preferably where I currently live. So I thought I would take you on a Sunday in my life. You may have seen a couple clips of like things I did earlier. And I thought, while I sit here and introduce the vlog, I'd also give you a reading update. So I finished this book during the week. A disappointment, to say the least. To say the least. I think there was too much plot for the fact that this was only supposed to be 2 weeks. Because it wasn't even good plot. Like, I feel like I figured out the plot here. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And so then it just kept plotting. And it was too much plot and not enough romance. I think I was expecting a fantasy romance, and it was very much more a romantic fantasy. Is that the difference? Isn't romantic fantasy where it's very much more fantasy forward with a hint of romance? A romantic fantasy is basically a romance set in a fantasy world. Yeah, I think I wanted a little bit more romance in this, babes, and there wasn't enough. And the fact that all this happens in 2 weeks, and she does what she does, and he does what he does in 2 weeks? Okay. Whatevs. However, that'll make me sound like a hypocrite because the first book in the series I think takes place in like 2 weeks. But in my mind, there isn't a romance really. There is a romance in that book. However, it makes more sense because, I don't know. It just does. That wasn't convincing. Maybe I'm a hypocrite. I don't really know. However, this is book 2 to what, the Tex Kalani, like, duology. I'm that far along. This is how much I have left. This is a good time. Do I fully understand anything that is currently happening in this story? No. However, it's a good time. A good time, to say the least. Because this one, you follow like Mahit. If you didn't know, you follow Mahit in the first book. She is from a station. This is a sci-fi. And she ends up going to the Empire. She goes to a planet called Tex Kalani or something like that. Or that's the culture, or that's the name, or whatever. She's a cultural liaison in a sense for her station. And she's there because the liaison before her has died. And so she has to kind of pick up where he left off. And so things pursue. It's very interesting. And in this one, she's like returned back home. And that bodes not well for her at all. And I think at the point where I'm at, she's like back with the Empire. Figuring out things. Being a cultural liaison to another culture. So this one I didn't give you a description, but essentially, I want to say her name is Gwen. It's Gwen. Close enough. Is like as an army doctor, and she basically gets dismissed and ends up in an abbey because I guess if you don't join the military with your healing arts, you become a nun in a sense. And the queen has like vanquished her from the army and sent her to the abbey, and she can't be in the abbey, so she gets a mysterious note that says, "Hey, will you come help heal my valet," which is this gentleman. And she's like, I gotta go, because in the notes also like, I'll extend an alliance to your country, because her country and another country are warring, and there's a country in the middle that is like Switzerland. It's always remained neutral, and so therefore she's like, oh, if I go, the queen will allow me back into like the good graces of the army in a sense, because then I can land this alliance. So she goes off, and she goes to heal him. And of course, because it is a romantic fantasy, she falls in love with the person she's supposed to be helping. So that's that. I feel like within the first 100 pages, you could guess exactly what the dealio was. And I feel like this is the first book. I am new to reading. I've only been a reader for like 3 years. Really, honestly, like before then, I was like a nonfiction reader here and there. I'm dyslexic, so it's like, it really wasn't a good time. And I feel like for the first time when people are like, oh, this is very YA, like it's very much for young adults, where there are books that are YA but feel very much a little bit like, could be categorized as like new adults. This is a very YA book. For sure, like this feels like it should be YA, but like upper end, because this is new adult. So it's like, oh yes, give me like the lighter stakes of YA, but like a little bit more of like, it's not so obvious to pick out the plot 100 pages in. So this is the first time I've ever looked at a book and thought, you definitely are a YA book. You know what I mean? And this is the same author, if you can't tell. Which is like, do you see that? This one could have been this thickness and I would have really enjoyed it. How many is it? Oh, it's just the pages. No, it's 30. This is 30 pages more than this one. It didn't need it, babes. It didn't need it. So there's that. But that's all I have going on. I'm currently, honestly, working on a puzzle. I got it because I was so excited, because I was like, oh, because I do the Magic Puzzle Co. company. And I did one before. My friend got me one for like my birthday, and I didn't understand exactly how they were supposed to work, because they're shifting puzzles. So you have to not only look for flat edges, but like rounded edges and like sharp points, because they go into like these little things. And so it took me like 2 weeks to figure it out. And then I was like, okay, I'll give it a try again. And I had gotten a second puzzle, and I finished that puzzle in like 3 days. Literally, I did it this past week, and I was like, oh my god, I love this. So then I went and bought one from their series 4. And that may or may not have been a mistake, because the amount of itty bitty details that are in this one makes me want to fight it. And there are several rounded objects in the puzzle. Do you know how hard that is? On top of the fact that I already have to find rounded stuff for the edges, and these rounded items are not a part of the edges. They're actual items in the center of the puzzle, along with the fact that there are star-shaped puzzle pieces, which means that there are edges that look like they should be edges, but they're not edges because they're in the center of the puzzle. I don't think I should have gotten a series 4. I think I should have just gone back. I should have just got the other series 3 one I wanted. So it's taking me 2 days to do the outline of the puzzle. And now I'm on a time crunch because my roommate comes back Tuesday night, and I want to make sure that the table is at least cleared, if not like the puzzle being done, so I can just like break it up when they go home. That way they have access to use the table if they like want to work at the table. Bane of my existence. I'll probably be working on that today, honestly. Since I'm under a time crunch, I'll probably be listening to this on audio, or maybe I won't because it's kind of getting good. I don't really know though. I also need to start this book. 1 second. We refuse because I need to get the audiobook from Libro FM, and I need to read this, but the book club is on Tuesday. And I did this with my last book club read, is that I'm like, oh yeah, I have time, because you don't want to read it too early, because then what if you forget stuff, especially because it's a library book and I don't have, you know, $30 to spare for a hardcover. And now I'm like 3 days out, and I'm like, crud, I have to read a nonfiction in 3 days, and it's like, stressful. Anyways, this is We Refuse, A Forceful History of Black Resistance. So, I'm excited. It's for the Kindred Nonfiction Book Club. And I'm excited because I read a book. Their book last month. I didn't make it a book club either. Going to a real life book club scares me. Because, like, what is it like? Or, like, are we going to be asked questions? Are people just going to discuss things? Sometimes I think that the autism and the anxiety really F me up because I'm like, I need context. I need understanding. How is this going to go? What are we doing? And it makes me nervous, and I don't. And then you're like, I want to bring somebody with me so we can experience it. I'm not alone together. And then also the fact that I'm going to have to talk to people is also nerve-wracking. Like, what do I do? Just show up and hold my book. Like, okay, here I am. I hate it. Sometimes I wish I could just the mental spiciness out of my brain. I'm like, everybody else can just show up to things and are fine. Why do I get so nervous and scared to go out in public and do things with people I don't know? I hate it. It's amazing that I was ever a part of. It was amazing I was ever honestly a part of Greek life. Actually, factually, or on orientation team. Or that I used to manage restaurants and coffee shops. Actually, oh, and shipping logistics stores. You know, that's wild. So I can do it. It's just like, you know, my comfort zone is home. Okay, this is like an 11-minute clip, and I need to go. Go where? Nowhere. I just need, we don't need to keep talking to the camera. Okay, bye. Alright, horrible lighting, but look who finished her puzzle. Now it's time to move it. Are we ready? I don't think we're ready. Okay. This gets a little tricky. But I know for sure. Beep, 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 beep. This needs to go whoop. This way. Now it's getting the piece over here. Ah! Oh, I didn't lose any. Boom. Now it's time to finish the magical puzzle. Look, it's a birthday party. How fun is that? What? That's really mean. What? Okay, well, I finished.
And then that'll dictate the amount of pages I need to read today. And if we go under screen time,